All right, I just got finished reading this book, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, for the third time. That's how good this book is. And I'm going to be talking about exponential organizations and about choosing what type of business to start. So maybe you're a serial entrepreneur, you want to start a new business, or maybe you've never started a business yet and you want to start a new business. What type of business should you start? And that's a super important question, because I'm going to tell you something. My personal experience, I failed at a lot of startups and I made a lot of mistakes because my mindset was not in the right place. I wasn't thinking exponentially, I was thinking linearly and in a very narrow-minded mindset. Therefore, vis-a-vis, I've had all my issues in the past. But, as Socrates said, answers are in the past. Study other successful companies. In my case, I say study other successful minds. So, in this case, Peter Thiel, Peter Diamandis, and many other ones out there. Let I digress. So, what type of business should you start right now? Well, the first question you have to ask yourself is not what type of business you should start, but what type of individual you are. See, each of us, you and I, we are wired differently. My skill set is different from your skill set. My mindset is different from your mindset. Your viewpoint of reality is different from my viewpoint of reality. That being said, you have to really be honest with yourself and ask yourself, write it, grab a notebook, grab a pen, and write down your skills. Because I see too many times entrepreneurs going out there, starting up companies, and they may be amazing companies in their mind, but they got no skill behind this whatsoever. They haven't developed any skill. And there's a book you should read. They're so good that they can't ignore you. Cal Newport, highly recommend it. Listen, passion and vision is great, but without skills is just a dream. Period. Capiche? You got that? Okay, so in your notebook, you write down what you're good at. You write down your skill set. You write down your characteristics. You write down your personality. And you write down, honestly, what you care about the most. And my good friend Richard, we just had coffee, we're talking about this. We call this the non-negotiables. So if you're starting a new business, what types of non-negotiables do you have? For example, in my case, a couple of non-negotiables is I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I want to have time for my friends, my family. That's a non-negotiable. I don't care. Second of all, the company has to have big ambitious goals to help humanity. It can't just be about the money. There has to be a reason and rhyme behind what they're doing to help the commoner around the world, the common human being. And third of all, does this make me happy? So it's individualized. Your happiness is different from my happiness, and everyone else's happiness is different from each other. So let's break down some industries that I think is going to be around, or not think, I know for a fact is going to have massive tidal wave effect going out in the next 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. Number one, blockchain. Probably haven't heard of blockchain, but it's Bitcoin. If you heard of Bitcoin, you've heard of blockchain. So blockchain is the algorithm, the platforms that the cryptocurrency runs on. And two biggest hitters right now, well, I'll say the three biggest hitters are right now, you got Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, and you got Litecoin, and then you got Dogecoin, yada, yada, yada. So if you're looking to get in the tech world that way, the fintech world that way, and really make a splash in there, and go to blockchain, because blockchain can be utilized not just for cryptocurrency. You can use blockchain for email. You can use blockchain for software. You can use blockchain for voting. You can use blockchain for logistics, because what basically blockchain is creating contracts, creating this type of system online where I can send you information, you can send me information back, it's encoded, it's encrypted, it's safe, and it's decentralized. That's the wonderful properties of blockchain. So blockchain is the first industry. Second industry is agriculture. Listen, if you look at Maslow hierarchy of needs, at the bottom you got food, you got sex, and you got housing, right? We need all three of them regardless, right? The thing with agriculture right now is it's not the fact that we don't have enough food. We got plenty of food. We got so much food that we're gluttonous. It's the issue of legalities, the laws, and logistics. And the problem with agriculture is minimizing it, because there's too many massive, gargantuan farms out there. How can we bring local farming inside the city, and then how can we increase the logistics so food doesn't go bad, so people know when food is ready? So we create these small self-sustained systems. Imagine, I'm from Toronto. Imagine if Toronto didn't need food from anywhere else in the world. That we're self-sustained, decentralized, running on blockchain, have our own food, and we're pretty much become our own fiefdom. That's survival. That is surviving and thriving in a beautiful, beautiful city, okay? So look at how you can improve the logistics and how you can micro-size the farming aspect within an urban playground. Next one, transportation. That's a biggie because next thing you know, it's gonna be 10 billion people on this planet. So how can we improve the public transportation around the world? China, 1.2 billion people. India, 1 billion people. United States, 360 million people. Over here in Toronto, we got 5 million people in the GTA area, 4th largest city in North America. We got horrendous public transportation. It's very bad, extremely. If you've ever been to Toronto, our public transportation stinks. That being said, there's room to improve. And where the improvement's gonna happen is not gonna happen from the governments because they're too bureaucratic, too much politics, so much bullshit out there. What's gonna happen is a small, lean startup is gonna come and disrupt everything. I'll give an example of Uber. Uber has Uber Pool now. I use Uber all the time. I hardly take public transportation. I can take an Uber Pool, split a ride downtown, back and forth, and cost me the same money as me taking the public transportation. And this is just the beginning. So focus on public transportation. I know Elon Musk and some other big hats in Cali, they're doing the Hyperloop. I believe that should be mandatory. I always think if we had a Hyperloop between like Moncton all the way to Vancouver, and then from Toronto to Vancouver for like $200, you can be in Vanny for like 4.5 hours. Fantastic. As opposed to us paying like $800 to fly to Vancouver. It's crazy. Public transportation is a big industry to get to. And finally, in the health sector, genomics. So genes and technology mixing together. I'll give you an example of a company for that. 23andMe. About a decade ago, it used to cost about $10,000 to run your gene sequence. Right now, it costs $200. 23andMe sends you a kit, swab, back in there, boom, back in the mail, and you got your whole genome, not the whole, but you got a good amount of your genetic sequencing that you can now put on different apps and see the mutations you have and see all these other different health reports you got going on. And honestly, the more personalized medicine we can have, I believe that the hospitals, the medical establishment, all these archaic systems will completely collapse. And we're gonna bring it back to a decentralized mode where you become the doctor. I wanna say you diagnosing yourself, but having machines to aid you. And now these machines can crowdsource the internet around the world to find specialists who specialize in exactly what you have, as opposed to going through all the bureaucratic bullshit system, going in line, going to GP sending over here. It's crazy. It's a burden on our system, and we as a taxpayer pay too much money for a medical system that doesn't do us well, okay? And finally, education, and this is gonna happen soon. There is more than $1 trillion owned. I want to repeat that again. $1 trillion is owned. Who owns that money or who's calling from it? I don't fucking know. But that's a different story. This system will collapse, mark my words. And you see it all around you where by the time, and this is statistics, by the time you enter a certain career in university from year one, 33% chance likelihood that your job will disappear. I did a video about this. I'll put a tab over here where they're saying 2 billion jobs will disappear by the year 2030. 2 billion jobs. And it has to relate to all these industries that I'm talking about, okay? So we see it all the time. Education system, and we're not against education. I believe it's every human being's right to be educated. What's happening though is the amount of time we spend on it and the amount of money we spend on it doesn't equal out the production that we're looking for. It doesn't give us the return. It's a horrible investment if you think about it. $10,000, at least in Canada, $10,000 a year, $40,000 just for tuition. What do you get out of it? Nothing. A shitty little job. It's a horrible, horrible ROI. As opposed to I can do micro courses online for a couple $100. Even companies are now, they don't even really care what types of university you have. They will train you in-house in their incubator. If you can jump into the educational system and figure out ways to create a global movement, a global platform, whether that is in the financial sector of education, whether that is a new form of educating people through a certain platform, whatever it may be, all these different layers in the vertical of education get into that industry. And that's it. I can keep on going, but there's so many different other things. Quickly summarize, change your mindset, know thyself, write down your stuff on any notebook you want, read amazing books. I recommend this book, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and that's pretty much it. What I want you to do right now is leave a comment below this video. I want to know, hey, what type of business you want to start. If you have any questions, also leave a comment below this video and share this video on Facebook, on YouTube, all the places, Let your friends know that if they want to control their life and their destiny and become a better human being, learning is earning, baby. Peace.